Must assess your child every year at your cost. These are the things that are changing, at least the same standard as CAPS.
Yeah, the video's live.
Only the NSC matric. Hello!
We're at Kingfisher FM.
We are.
This is Ethan.
This is Rushka.
Hi.
How's it? We're talking about
home education.
There we go. And the bill that they want to pass in government that's going to affect home education.
Our freedom and our rights.
Alright.
Is this my mic?
You ready?
Ready.
We are messengers, and a song called I Give It All to You. Well, where do the rights lie at the end of the day? It should be in the hands of the citizens of the country. Today we're talking to Rushka Johnson, who says, you know what, as a person who does homeschooling, I've got a bit of a bull to pick with you. Pardon the pun. Nice to have you with us in studio, Rushka. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
I got a call last week, a lady asking about whether you can come and talk a little bit about this bill that they want to propose and pass through government and how it will affect homeschooling or home education. And just having a quick brief myself over here, I was quite concerned. Just for the things it mentions over here, you've got to have the same standards as CAPS. You have to have a competent assessor that comes and assesses your child at your cost every year. Only the NSC matric, and otherwise, if you don't comply, you'll be prosecuted.
Yep. So, before we go into that, once you've spoken what the bill is proposing and what it's wanting to do to take away the rights of parents home educating their children.
Right.
But before we go there, I'm going to give you a sort of a inside view of what home education actually is, so that people can fully understand what the issues are and where they lie.
Open your door, show me what's going on in your house.
So I am a home educating mom. I've been doing it for 19 years. My oldest daughter is in second year at university now. And we love the freedom in home educating our children, because it is not just a way of educating, it is an entire lifestyle, which is a family-oriented lifestyle where our focus is on building relationships with one another and our community, and living in a space where our children are able to learn in ways that suit their own learning styles, where they're free to learn the way in which they naturally would learn. So that is one of the reasons why we are so grateful and so happy that we can home educate our children. And another one of the things is obviously the relationships, because being with one another a lot and knowing your children, because you're with them all the time, and understanding them and allowing them to grow into who they're meant to be is just a wonderful freedom. And to be able to do this, you need to have the freedom to be able to parent or look after your children, or engage with your children in a way which you would naturally do without someone else telling you how to do it. Yes. So for you to understand, you've got to think of home education not as a school at home, but more as a parenting style, or a way that a family would choose to live or parent their children. So many different people obviously have different parenting styles all across the world, and people that are doing home education have different ways of doing it, because they all of their children have a uniqueness, and their family is different and unique, and so they would choose to do it in a totally different way. And this is the diversity and the beauty in home education. Okay. So for you to understand why it's an issue for government or anyone, to tell you how to parent your child, or how you are supposed to be engaging with your child, or where they're supposed to be sitting, or how they're supposed to be reading, or what they're supposed to be doing, is an issue in itself, because it's taking away the right of the parent to parent their child in the way in which they see fit.
So before this bill was wanting to be passed, was government in your corner? Were they aligning with parents and saying, we give you the freedom to do home education as you see fit?
Well, home education in South Africa is legal. It's not as though it's something that is illegal. There was a long battle fought to make it legal many years ago. And they, in the Department of Education, they would like homeschooling or home educating parents to register their children at the Department of Education. So that was already like that, and it's going to continue to be like that in this new bill.
fine.
Okay, but by law, they would like you to register with the Department of Education. Okay, once your child is registered with the Department of Education, as you read in the bill over there, they give you guidelines on how they want you to educate your child. So they will say they want you to use CAPS curriculum. They must have a specific place where they sit and where they work. They must have this, they must have that, and they're going to visit you and check and make sure. Some parents don't mind that, and that's fine, because that's their choice. Okay, but many people feel that it is an infringement on their children's privacy and the privacy of their own home, and they don't want to be told what curriculum to use, how to teach their children. If your child wants to sit up in the tree and build a tree house, the chicken on its head, and that's how it's going to be learning where it wants to sit with its little reader, then you should have the right to be able to do that. So many people in South Africa do not register with the Department of Education. They have chosen not to register because they feel that it's not in the best interest of their child to have to go according to somebody else's vision of what education is, and have to stick to these strict guidelines that they're trying to impose onto families. So most people in South Africa who home educate have chosen not to register with the Department of Education because they feel it's not in the best interest of their children to do so. So the issue with this bill, which is they've made amendments to a bill, so the changes that they want to put in place are taking away much of the freedom, because they are making it a criminal offence to not do things the way that they would like you to comply.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so where do you fall into the picture over here, and what do the rest of the parents say? I mean, is there something that is being contested in court?
What has happened with the bill is, now there are places where you can go and you can read about the history of when all of this started, and the places like the Pestalozzi Trust, which is a set of lawyers in South Africa that protect the rights of homeschoolers. If you go onto their website, then you can read all of the sort of the action between the Department of Education and them from a lawyer's perspective, and places like the East Cape Homeschooling Association, for you to get a sort of an overview, a fact check of what exactly went down. Okay, I wasn't at all of those meetings. I'm giving you my perspective as a parent and how it affects me. But I was part of the process in sending my objections, because what they do when there is a bill that it's supposed to be a democracy, where before a law is passed, the people must comment, and they must look at the comments, and they must make amendments and sort of adjust according to what the people want, including the children who are involved, because children should have a voice as well. And so hundreds of people sent objections through, and they don't seem to have looked at any of them. They sort of brushed it aside, called it spam in a way.
Okay.
So there are lots of problems with the bill, the way in which they have handled it and not taken the objections of the parents forward. So that is why this is always in the newspaper and everyone's speaking about this, because lots of people feel as though they haven't been heard, and the children haven't been heard, and the people who do not want their freedom taken away have not been heard. So that's why it's an issue.
So I appreciate that you're coming in to be the voice of the parent that's not being heard or not being taken seriously with their objections or with their comments about this bill that they want to pass. What do you want people, because I don't know about these things, so I find that very interesting, and maybe a lot of people listening don't know about it. So what is your call to action? What do you want people to know or do?
Well, firstly, I mean, I can't speak on behalf of anyone else besides myself and my own family. I think that it's important for people to realize and understand their rights. Your right as a parent, the rights of children, their rights to privacy, and many of the rights that you have as a parent and as a child. So it's important firstly to understand what your rights are, and important to understand that these things that are happening, it's nice to be informed. It's nice to go and read on websites and places that you can trust, as some of the ones that I've mentioned before, and see what is going on with the bill, and sort of knowledge is power kind of thing. But also to feel comfortable or relaxed or confident in knowing that you as a parent to do something that is in the best interest of your child is a very big right that you have. And one mustn't forget that when you feel as though, your rights are getting taken away.
Are being infringed upon.
Yeah.
Okay, so if people want to, can they still make submissions? Can they still go and find out more information about
They can go
this?
find out more information, but I just wanted to put out there that there are many people who home educate in South Africa. Many. No one has made a tally because it's something that you can't really, but even with the few that have sort of put their names down or sort of have a document of, it's probably about 100,000. And that's only the ones who have. So which equals how many schools? 200 schools of people. So there are a lot of people who home educate their kids. And there are a lot of people who disagree with a lot of these things because of their rights that are taken away. So I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes people think that there are very, very few people who home educate their kids, but more and more and more people are from different cultures, from different, totally different walks of life and who choose to do it in totally different ways. So I think that's important to know because there's a diverse amount of people who've chosen this path, and the education aspect of it and the different ways that they choose to do it, they're getting a high education, and the children are so, you can talk forever about it, but I suppose you've got to meet some of the kids and contact some more of the people to get more of a feeling of it.
Right.
So,
Okay, so Rushka Johnson, a parent who is deeply concerned about the home education bill that they want to pass in government, which will infringe upon the rights of parents and to raise their kids in the way that they see fit and to educate them in the way that they view to be best. Maybe you can go and also read up a little bit more about it. How will this be affected when the new legislation comes into pass? And whether you still have an opportunity to voice your concerns and grievances, we'd encourage you to go and do so. Education is power.
Yes. Can I say one more thing?
Say one more thing and we're going to call it quits.
Okay, one more thing is that there has been, in the media in the past, there has been a misconception or of what home education is about. Sort of documentaries or things that have gone up from people who are not home educating themselves, speaking about it on behalf of people, and lots of the time there's misconceptions of what it truly is about, and so it's important also to speak to people who are actually home educating, to see what it's about before you look at somebody else's opinion who has no idea what it's about and sort of formulate an opinion of that. So it's important to understand that there are people that do create a misconception of what it's about, and for you to understand it fully, you need to be speaking to and seeing and meeting people who are actually doing it, and not the voice of someone who's never done it before or has no idea.
Right.
So,
I like that. On that note, if you want to get in touch with Rushka, maybe she can also enlighten you a little bit about homeschooling, home education. You can send us a WhatsApp on 072 147 2321 if you'd like to communicate with her or get her insights, or maybe you ask her advice. 072 147 2321. Rushka, thanks for being the voice of the community.
You. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Great, well done.
He's good.
Great job.
You let me talk.
Ah, she did a great job. Fantastic.
Thank you.
See you on the other side.
Bye, guys.